the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has been stuck in a place of uncertainty with no sense of direction ever since the 3D era. Releasing the storybook games where Sonic wields a talking sword, Sonic Forces where the blue blur died,
Running out of time here, Tails!
or Mania, which is an apology for every other game that has ever been released. So, 2020 comes around, where we are greeted with Sonic's second blockbuster film, which was actually received with pretty high reviews, and was a lot more Sonic compared to the film's predecessor. With the introduction of franchise staples, Tails, Sonic, and even set up an antagonist for the next film, Shadow. Hell, even Super Sonic was in this film, and all this combined made for an overall really enjoyable movie based on the video game. Later, we got Sonic Origins, which was a collection of the first 4 Sonic games with a bunch of new features, such as new playable characters, new modes, classic music selection, and even new animated cutscenes to accompany the storylines of each game. So, as a result, a decent collection of classic video games, and sold the game at an insane price considering the fact that these games are 30 years old and also made it harder to play the games on modern hardware by removing them from digital storefronts, where they may only want to play one game in that entire collection. Capitalism! So, that being said, Sonic was back in the mainstream. I mean, the most popular it's ever been since the glory days of the 90s. According to Google Trends at least. So, with that, everyone wasn't anticipating the next mainline Sonic game. So when the Game Awards rolled around, we were given the trailer to Sonic Frontiers. Everyone was confused. Sonic was in this bleak green landscape, filled with ancient relics, to the point where it looks like... I'm not sure what the deal is with classic, more friendly video game characters and throwing them into open world completely different to their normal environment is, but it's happening again, but now with Sonic. In the build-up to the release of the game, hopes were not high at all, especially considering the reaction to the gameplay shown by IGN. So then the game released, and was greeted to reviews, some praising how it finally breaks the Sonic formula, or others complaining about how the controls are clunky as ever. Personally, here are my thoughts. Sonic Frontiers is a fantastic mess. It features Sonic being thrown into Breath of the Wild, fighting Gundams like you're in an episode of DBZ, and also while taking part in the best minigame of all time, fishing with Big the Cat. While the story is as bare bones as it gets, it's definitely more diverse and different to the average Sonic story. It starts off with Sonic and friends crash landing on a mysterious island where everyone gets turned into pixelated glitch things.
Me? You're the one who's only half here.
So it's up to Sonic to find out why. To say the story is somewhat convoluted is somewhat of an understatement. But still, it's definitely not the highlight. I think one of the strengths of this entry is that there is always something to do. The game is split up into 5 different islands, each containing one of Sonic's friends. So, as you can imagine, most of the game is centered around you traveling from island to island, saving them. So, with that all out of the way, why do I like this game? Well, it's down to the fact that there is always something to do. The islands you explore are full of huge structures to climb, and it never feels tedious doing these challenges, since when you're on your way to talk to Amy, you might do a rail grind or 2. Not to mention, the giant mechs that you fight, and as a big fan of Transformers and Gundam, fighting a monster 10 times your size is incredibly thrilling, especially with the absolutely banging metal soundtrack that accompanies you. And when you're supersonic, it feels hard to describe. And it also doesn't happen that far into the game as well. It's 6 hours in. Then there are the shrines. I mean, the legally distinct ancient transporter. These transport Sonic to a stage of the past. And to be honest, these are probably the weakest parts of the game, just because it replicates everything Sonic has been criticized for in the past. But less infuriating. And if you try to go S rank for all of them, good luck. If you know, you know. Then there is the Big the Cat fishing game, where you catch extremely realistic looking fish and sea creatures, accompanied by lo-fi. If all of what I just described sounds like completely different games, I wouldn't blame you. It's like a bunch of random ideas thrown together to create a video game. But because it's Sonic, it's all about going fast. It works. And overall, the game is just fun. Some games focus on being something that not just anyone can play, or an incredible story and graphics. But Sonic Frontiers has none of that, just pure fun. And hopefully Sonic Frontiers is a sign for what is to come in the Sonic franchise, to the point where I actually might check out Sonic Prime. So, there you go. Buy Sonic Frontiers. Except on Switch. Frontiers graphics on Switch parallel staring into a toilet.
Slice and